When I look at you, you're just another person. And especially if I have lived and deal with you, you still a person. And you, I'm not gonna say, oh, that's a man, that's a white man. I don't like that. Just look at the person. Look at me as another person that God made. And I look at you as another person. And I believe that would build a big bridge. We could get over whole lots of troubled water if we just look at each other as other persons and not just like, but this is something I know I have to pray for, been praying for. Just look at this as my fellow person.
And the more we know that person,
Yeah.
the easier it is
Right,
to build that
if
bridge.
you have to live and deal with one another too. And most of all, we have to forgive one another too. Because a lot of times when we do things against each other, we will go, if you don't mind, we'll get kind of personal on us looking at each other. But God wants us to be one. And you know, in our Sunday school lesson, we was talking about in the beginning, we're going through Genesis. And you know, that really wakes up my mind thinking about God, what did he separate whatever it was there? No, this was just brown mud what he breathed into. And what color did it turn out to be? But it back to what I think builds bridges, just loving one another and forgiving one another. Forget about where you come from, it's where we're going. It's not where we come from. Where we're going.
Right.
And I can close so many doors if I'm worried about where you come from.
Yeah.
That's true.
Well, I think it's about relationships.
Yes.
You know, it's about relationships. And everyone has I like the name of this church here, Common Ground, because everyone has something in common.
Yeah.
It's just getting there to that common ground, what we're talking
But doesn't that come with being broken by God?
Yes.
I mean, it did with me that were, you know, there really is a spiritual war here. Yeah. And all the divisiveness is part of the other side of the spiritual world. And I've been there. I don't know how many of y'all have. I've been on the other side. But I didn't come to this side by my own doing. It was by God.
By his blood, y'all. When we began to change and want to be a Christian, that's when we learn to build. We want to build bridges.
And it's like you
Because
said,
if we do not know him, what did we know then? Selfishness. Then it suits me. I didn't want to. But you all,
and
through
brainwashed
the
by
blood.
God.
Yes.
And wanting to be the Christian, you work on that, and sooner or later you know this is what it is all about. That's why we know strangers when it comes to Christians. It's by the blood, you all. Yes, we have had our different things, racial this and racial that and all that, but if we accept Jesus Christ, that's the bridge. Do y'all agree with me?
I think everything Jesus did.
Yeah.
When he ate with different people, when he visited, he healed the Romans, just or the Samaritans. Every move he made was a bridge
When
builder.
when your grandparents had kids over that were white, and they're calling them grandma and grandpa at the table, at the dinner table, you seeing a whole new picture.
One of the
Thank you,
choices
Reggie.
that I made was when Lowell started Common Ground. I wanted the church to be more inclusive, more open, and I thought this was one chance.
Now you're working.
Becoming aware of the Bible study. You talking about the bridge with Mount Pleasant? And when we went to that, you could just feel it.
I feel like with, William and their crew, we're stronger whenever we're cooking or whatever. And I also feel like for our choir, our choir is just stronger when Mount Pleasant's involved. So, I hate to say it's selfishness, but it's also about that, the parts don't add up to the whole type thing when we're together. So, for me, it's that.
It's like you say, it's like when you get to know people and you depend on each other, you stop seeing those divides and you just start being community.
You're right.
And it's just amazing. I'm night and day, how we first started and how we are now. It's the most amazing thing.
One of the bridges the Lord has built in my life is, of course, tradition, same-sex marriages. To me, you know, for a long time, it looked like the Bible, you know, this is a bad thing. And then my husband had a stroke, and we went through 18 nurses, but the very one that was an angel sent by God was a person of same-sex marriage. And knowing her and what she's been through in her life and the person she is makes a big difference.
Yes. Okay.
But you'll probably, I don't know, you end up being one of my very best friends if you say that.
But you're not setting up judgment. You're accepting our love and understanding, right? First time we get to judging, you know, we'll do that in a minute. Oh, yeah. We'll go to judging.
But it's hard to judge once you really know a person.
And when they're so nice and kind, just like anybody else.
Or
but
better.
we have to get to them. We have to get to them.
But it goes right back to who did Jesus dealt with? Who was he with? He was with those people.
Absolutely.
Kindness to those people.
One without sin throw the first stone.
Right.
And what happened to them?
They ended up one of his faithful followers.
They had one, but anyway, it's a lot I knew I had to do.
But there's a lot of, you know, a lot you don't understand. You don't have to understand everything. If you love people, you don't have to understand everything.
And there's certain things it says we won't understand. We'll understand it better by and by. I am a Christian, and God is love, and that's what He expects out of me. And like hadn't graduated yet. I'm not what I was. I ain't there yet, but I know I'm going. I'm on my way.
Another bridge Betty built was every time I'd go see Miss Weathers, her smile. That was a bridge. That was a bridge. Just her personality would just make your day.
It took a long time to get there in my lifetime too.
Sure it does. We never graduate.
That's right. That's right. You're right about that.
Certificate
You're right
of
about that.